if he shot straight on with
Yes.
that buckshot, and if that was a contact wound or
No, it's a close range.
close range? Closer than 3 feet?
Yes.
Okay. Can't estimate how far.
I can't. You'd have to test fire.
Okay, so the chest shot is, if it's straight on, wouldn't it just go right through his lungs and his heart?
Yes.
Okay.
So this was shot at an angle across, so that might indicate that his body was positioned perpendicular to the shooter. Now, the shooter could also shoot from the side, doesn't necessarily shoot from the front. So we can't be 100% sure about these things.
If you're the shooter and
Yes.
I'm Paul, and you shoot me with that buckshot, if I'm faced to the side, would the results be consistent with your autopsy examination?
Yes.
Okay, and we know that some of those pellets, you think his arm was down by his side.
I feel confident about that.
Okay, and the reason for that is there are pellet holes in his arm, right?
No, that's not the reason. The reason is because there's bruising around the exit wounds. They're kind of shored exits, and then we have corresponding bruising on the underside of the arm. So it indicates that they were in close proximity at the time the pellets exited and then re-entered. Because if there was a distance, we wouldn't have the bruising around those wounds.
Okay, and do the pellets go through his arm?
Yeah, there are pellets that exited through the arm.
And so there's little pellet holes
Correct.
on his arm exiting.
Yes.
Did you see a corresponding entrance wound with the pellets?
Yes, the entrance pellet wounds were on the inside of the arm.
Right, and then they go out, and I think they struck things after that, as far as you know.
I don't know what happened to them after they left the body.
So either the shooter is to his right,
Yes.
shooting across,
Yes.
okay, and you think that shooter would have been closer than 3 feet, but you can't say how
Right.
close.
Right. He could have been to his right, or Paul may have turned his body in that perpendicular manner yes.
But either way, there would have been almost immediate bleeding. Well, not a fatal wound. There would have been immediate bleeding from that wound, correct?
There would have been bleeding. It's hard to say how much, but certainly I would expect some bleeding.
But if there were footprints found halfway into that feed room, and those are Paul's footprints, would that indicate to you that he had stepped in his own blood?
Oh, that's certainly possible.
Okay, not inconsistent with what you have.
Correct.
And that second shot would have come, I mean, as I understand it, hey, Mr. Barber, could you take your coat off and come here, please? I hate to do this to him, but I can't really do it to myself. So, if you would step down here, with permission, Your Honor, may she step down? Okay. And what I'd like to have you do is, we need to not block these folks over here. Let's see how we do this. Or that gentleman right there.
You want me to stand back here?
That would be good. And he's fine. They're fine. Well, unless I get in their way. Let me see if I can avoid not falling over. Okay, so we've already talked about this wound. Left side. Okay. This wound, which goes in right about here. Show the jury where the wound went in.
Yeah, it was like between the sternum and the left nipple, so kind of right over there.
Right over there. And Mr. Barber's a little bit taller. He was, I think, 5.
Yeah, I measured his height. I don't recall.
We'll talk about that in a minute, but I believe Mr. Barber's a little bit taller than he was. But I think we need to know that, because I'm going to ask you to sort of chart things out. So the entrance wound is here, and is consistent with him being, how about Mr. Barber, turn just a little bit that way. So the shot would have gone like this?
Yes, that's approximately correct, and it has a slightly front to back.
Slightly front to back.
Right,
about
but
like
mostly it's right to left. His
Okay.
right to.
And how about raise your left arm for me, please? So, and his arm was not raised, but I want to point out it comes out. We're going to see some pictures in a minute. Okay, turn it a little bit this way. So it would have come out right under his arm.
Yes, we do have the exit pellet wounds there.
And we also have wadding, do we not?
Yeah, we have wadding stuck in the underside of his right armpit.
And then it goes through his arm,
Yes.
still coming front to back.
Well, it's left to right, but there is a slight front to back because we have some exit wounds on the back.
Okay, so if I told you this is a narrow room,
Okay.
have you seen any crime scene photos
From here? No.
from
Oh, yeah, from this case, crime scene photos in my career, yes.
in this case?
I really didn't. I may have been shown a very small photo, like a couple of weeks ahead of trial, but I didn't form any opinions based on
If I
that.
told you that the small room, the gap between some stacks of dog food here and the wall and the little thing over here is maybe 3 to 4 feet, and this buckshot goes through the back window on this very narrow, very small. So that would be consistent with what you're saying. Some of the buckshot comes through, and that was buckshot that you shot with in the chest.
Yeah, it was shot. We don't remember the exact size.
Well,
Buckshot is usually bigger, but
Okay, assume I'm not
Yeah.
misleading you, okay?
Right. Okay, some shot.
Buckshot goes through and hits the back window. That leaves holes in the window and hits in the door, the window frame, and goes out. One of them embeds in a tree back behind. So that is consistent with your findings, correct?
Yes.
That first shot. I'm sort of intrigued. Is there anything about the exterior of this shot? What's beveling? Do you know what a bevel is, beveling?
Yes, of course. Beveling is a pattern of defect through a bone. So when there's a gunshot wound that, for instance, goes through, let's say we could get an entrance wound over here and an exit wound over here. We're talking about handgun wounds generally.
Right.
The way, when there's basically a hole in one side of the skull, I can tell which is an entrance and which is an exit, even without looking at the skin. Okay, so for instance, if I get skeletonized remains with a hole through the head, I can see which is the entrance and which is the exit because the bone bevels in a characteristic way depending on the direction of the bullet.
What is a bevel?
Yeah, bevel is like an angled chipping away of a hard surface.
So as a bullet goes through, and I guess the head is all the bone, right?
Well, it's like a solid bone, right?
Right. So you can tell this is the entrance because, I mean, is it like?
It's the entrance, on the outer table of the skull, it's a smaller hole. On the inner table of the skull, it's a bigger hole. So the bone is beveling outward as the bullet goes in.
So it would bevel in on the entrance and bevel out on the exit?
Yeah, well, bevel in, meaning sometimes people don't always use these words consistently, even forensic pathologists. But there is a inward beveling, but means it's kind of beveled outward. So
Bevel outward, inside the wound, you see something that would indicate?
Wider, yes.
Wider.
It's wider on the inner table of the skull than the outer table.
And when it exits, do you have a narrower bevel, if you will, or defect on the inside than on the outside?
Yes.
That was a lot. Okay. So was there, since this didn't enter bone, is there beveling with the flesh?
No, it doesn't bevel because there's too much elasticity.
Okay.
And also just shredding. Frequently we can't see beveling on long bones either. The skull is kind of a flat bone, so it has that characteristic.
Okay, and the second shot, as I understand it, you indicate is, can you, well, first of all, assume that he is, well, you can't assume that. So maybe we just forget about beveling for just a minute, okay? So show the jury, please, where the initial, I mean, there's a shot, it's shot with a shotgun.
Yes.
And it is more than, since there's no stippling or soot or anything that would indicate a close shot, correct?
Correct.
So more than 3 or 4 feet away.
More than 3, yes.
More than 3. And where is the initial shot? Where does it hit him?
On the top of the left shoulder.
When you say the top,
The apex.
okay, are there pellets in here?
Yes.
In the apex?
Yes.
And I'm going to show you an X-ray in just a minute and have you demonstrate on Mr. Barber, where that hit. And they're shot in here.
Yes.
And you indicated you thought his chin was bent to the
Yeah,
left.
this is something that I believe not necessarily have to be bent, but I do think it was at least tilted in this direction. The reason being, if this is in a horizontal direction and then goes through his cheek, let's say he's just your head up. And let's say it's just going through here, and it would just kind of hit like over this side of his head, okay? But meanwhile, it's kind of over here. So, and then the exit wound is back there. So at least we have a little bit of directionality like this. I don't know, if he was completely turned to the left, it would have gone through his face. But I think it makes the most sense knowing that a wound travels in a straight line, basically. Of course, these are pellets, so there's going to be a lot of destruction. But the fact that his face was spared from damage indicates to me that he had his head somewhat turned. I don't know exactly how much, but that it kind of coursed the top of the left shoulder into this left neck, cheek area, and then exited the back of the head on the top.
Let me find the X-ray pictures while he's standing up there. Here we go. Wait 1 second. Excuse me, Dr. Riemer.
Look at Alex Murdaugh. Aren't you dying to know what he is really thinking? No matter what the case is, he is obviously very emotional hearing this testimony. What do you think of this cross so far? Is Dick Harpootlian really scoring any points? Tweet us. Let us know what you think so far. You're not going to miss a moment of this. We're going to hit the pause button for you and take you right back to court after this break.
Someone they knew is back.
I mean, you talk about high stakes, right?
With a brand new season.
They seemed happy.
Someone They Knew with Tamron Hall. New season premieres Sunday, 9/8 Central.
Only on Court TV.
A Wisconsin woman accused of killing her friend with eye drops.
Was the victim trying to commit suicide?
Or was she murdered for money?
The Eye Drops murder trial. Live coverage coming soon on Court TV.
$100 off.
We are so glad you're with us on this Tuesday morning. Welcome back. I'm Julie Grant. Let's go back into court together now. We're seeing the cross-examination of the forensic pathologist who examined Paul and Maggie Murdaugh's bodies. Now, she is off the stand at the request of Dick Harpootlian and doing some kind of, demonstrative things as she's walking the jury through the injuries. Let's go in where we left off.
Show you where you're standing right there, these pictures, and see if you can identify them. And if so, we'll put them in evidence, and then I'll put them up on the screen. So I'd like you to look at these 3 photos tell me if you can identify these. Am I speaking loud enough for the court reporter?
Sorry.
Am I speaking loud enough when I'm facing that way? Okay.
Yes, these are X-rays that were taken at the commencement of the autopsy.
Okay. Your Honor, I would offer defendant's exhibits. 111, 112, and 113.
No objection, Your Honor. They're admitted.
So could I have, please, step over, sit that way. So there's no screen? There is. Okay, I'm sorry. Oh, that's much better. Okay, so let's see. Okay, let's see 113, please. Okay, so this is his left arm, correct?
Yes.
And this material up here, we see these little dots. What is that?
Yeah, those are the shotgun pellets.
Okay. And they are, yeah, that's perfect. And so we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, along that line, 20, along these would be pellets that would be along here, correct?
Yes.
And they begin at, is this his shoulder? I mean, the shoulder bone?
Yes, it's, no, the soft tissue of the shoulder. The soft tissue of the shoulder.
Okay, I'll give you the
Yeah,
pointer, you know
okay.
what you're doing.
Yeah, this is the humeral head.
Which would be-
Humeral head, which
should
is...
show on Mr. Barber where that
Yeah,
is.
this is the bone of the humerus. So our humerus is that long bone from the shoulder joint to the elbow joint, and we can see that this is basically, it's not really perforating the bone. There may be some defect at the edge of the bone, but it's pretty much on top in the soft tissues.
Okay, and it goes on for a ways, and then if you would show me exhibit number 112. Okay, and would you focus on the upper right-hand corner, please? There you go. Now, that corresponds to this large picture, that orientation.
Yes.
Okay, so what is this showing us?
There are significant numbers of pellets also in like the left neck area.
Show us on Mr. Barber where that would be.
Yeah, so the entrance is here, and pellets are basically spreading, so they're not, they're included, there are pellets in the left side of the neck area over here, and then there's also some going into the brain.
Okay, and let me see if I can count those. So, I mean, are these part of what we looked at before?
Yes.
Okay, and how far down did the new one start?
It's a different view, so may not include all of them.
Okay, so, but a number of them.
Yeah, I mean, the purpose of the x-rays is basically to show what kind of ammunition remains in the body, if any.
Did you remove these pellets?
Not every single one, a representative number.
Okay, so there's an exhibit that was shown to you by Mr. Waters of some pellets that you
Yes.
recovered, but that's not all the pellets you recovered.
That's all the pellets I recovered. I don't stay for days to recover each pellet. It's actually a lot harder than it looks. Here they look like you know exactly where they are, but you can fish for like an hour to find one pellet. It's fairly small and there's a lot of tissue, and
So
I get a handful of them, and that's sufficient.
Did you keep the buckshot separate from the birdshot? Because this is birdshot.
I don't think any of it was actually buckshot. Buckshot is very large, so they were all I believe they were all collected together.
Okay, so you thought they were all birdshot?
No, I didn't make that conclusion. They're some kind of shot. I didn't make a determination.
So you didn't determine the...
Yeah, that's really of the firearms. I'm the pathologist. It's the firearms expert to determine what kind of shot it is.
So...
I said shotgun pellets, and that's
right, so
sufficient.
If previous expert testimony was the chest was a buckshot and the head was duck shot or some sort of bird shot, you're not going to disagree with that?
I really didn't. It all looked similar to me.
Okay. Now, let me see Exhibit 111, please. And can you, I guess the lower left, well, maybe not. Let's start with the lower left of this, his left, lower, right there, okay? This is the total picture.
Okay.
And so what does this represent?
Yeah, we can see his upper and lower teeth here, the upper teeth, the lower teeth, and so he actually did not have any fractures of his teeth. So the projectiles were going behind the teeth. His teeth were not all fractured out.
So would you show on Mr. Barber where these pellets would have been?
Yeah, this is just a two-dimensional image. So they're anywhere between, like, here and here.
Okay.
It's hard to say based on a two-dimensional image.
Okay, and I think, show us where you think the exit wound was.
On the right side of the top.
The back of his head.
The top of his head.
The top of his head.
Toward the back.
Towards the back. And if you were to extend out the shoulder wound, the neck, the path of these pellets, and then the exit wound, I mean, did you actually see an exit wound? Was there?
Yes. It was a blown out exit wound of the skull, and that is how the brain left the skull.
Well, actually, the skull exploded, basically, correct?
Well, the skull, and there was a defect there. I could not reapproximate the skull, so there's a piece of skull missing.
Was there a bevel around that piece of skull?
We don't get beveling when there's shattering of the bone.
Okay, we'll pursue that a little bit later.
It's not a typical feature. You could potentially see something that you can say, well, this looks like a little beveling, but in my experience, that's very difficult to assess because there's so much damage and fragmentation of the bone.
Take that pointer, please, using Mr. Barber as a mannequin, and show us the path of that shotgun blast.
So it was going along here and into the left side, I believe, makes most sense like this, and out the top of the right side of the head.
So and that was, you say, at least 3 feet away.
Yes.
Okay. Let me have that pointer again, please. And if you would step right over there. And just turn a little bit this way for me, okay? So your testimony is, and correct me if you need to step over here and correct the angle.
No, I don't like that.
Okay, well, show me what you like.
All right. I like this straight.
Right.
And then, because this is basically not, it doesn't look like it's going upward. It's going straight and then entering around there. So we have two distinct defects, a defect here and a defect there. So I believe the head was at least angled a little bit like that in order for the corresponding continuation of that defect to go in there. But I don't think it's going upward. I think looking at the left shoulder, it looks like it's kind of and if it was going upward, we wouldn't have as much in the neck as we do. So I think it's more like straight on.
Well, that would still be coming upward at some angle, right?
No, I think it's more straight. I really, you
Well, how
know,
does it come out the top of his head?
well, that's because if his head is like bent like that,
Right.
then it's going to go in that direction. Yes.
If it's straight, it's going to go here and then out the top of his head?
Oh my, look at Alex Murdaugh here. He's really a mess this morning, just an absolute emotional mess this morning, listening to this testimony. Doesn't matter if he did what the state says he did, it's gotta be hard to hear about the killing of your own son and your own wife. As he sits there, he's cloaked in the presumption of innocence, folks. It's up to the state to prove him guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Can they do it? That's a big question. We'll tell you this. We got some inside information from our team in the courtroom. Our field producer, Tiffany Smith, who sends us lots and lots of notes, said that laughing we could hear as we were watching those moments ago with the forensic pathologist and Dick Harpootlian, that was the jury laughing. When he said, show us what you like, and they started, that was the jury. She said they're very engaged and kind of cracking up from time to time at what Dick Harpootlian says to his colleagues there throughout this examination. And it's something we talk about here on the show. Likability with the lawyers is very, very important. And this is telling me that the jury likes Dick Harpootlian. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere, folks. We're at the bottom of the hour. We're going to go back into the courtroom together in South Carolina. You're not going to miss a moment here on Court TV.
Real Deal at drivetime.com.
I'm Matt Johnson in South Carolina for the Murdaugh family murders trial. This is Court TV, front row seat to justice.
We are so grateful for your company on this Tuesday morning. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julie Grant. We're watching an interesting cross-examination being conducted by Alex Murdaugh's defense team with the forensic pathologist who did the autopsies of Maggie and Paul. Interesting, not so much because what he's going over. A lot of it is redundant, folks. It really is. But it's the way he's doing it. It seems that he's really getting the jury to like him. We're seeing the jury laughing. Our courtroom field producer, Tiffany, is telling us even though they are seeing the autopsy photographs, nobody's appearing squeamish. They're actually kind of laughing and looking very engaged at the comments that Dick Harpootlian is making to his colleagues. So keep an eye out for that. The advocacy is important when we're in trials. Let's go back in together.
It absolutely could. You know, the thing about the neck, heads can be twist and turn, so it's not at all inconsistent with that. It's most reliable that we can look at the shoulder wound and see that it's kind of, you know, it's very difficult to assess the angle from where you're standing, and that's only because the head can bend and twist. And so we can only know where it entered and where it exited, and it's possible the head could have been twisted or turned to correspond to.
Would it be more consistent if he turned your head the other way, Mr. Barber, like that, to get it out the top of the head?
You know, that could be. However, we have a defect over here. So how would that happen?
Pull your head back and keep it over in that direction. In other words, let me adjust him. Back and then over that way.
Yeah.
Is that consistent with it coming in here, going this way, and then out the top of the head?
I think that the head tilt to the right, as you've just demonstrated,
right,
is perfectly consistent with that. However, because the hole here is here, I think even if his head's to the right, it would still be turned like that. Okay, now that makes sense to me.
So,
right.
So the shooter would be at least 3 feet away from that right there, right?
Yes.
And would he have it up, or would he have it down, or?
It's hard to say, and that's because the head can tell. We only have one area of an entrance wound here, and it seems to be approximately horizontal. But it's impossible for me to say whether it's the entrance is kind of below him or at his level, or potentially above him with Paul leaning over. It's hard to know, and that's because people aren't necessarily standing up straight, and they also. The thing about injuries on the head and neck, there's so much twisting and bending possible.
Okay, Ms. Barber, stand up straight. You get the correct there? Okay, I'm sorry. So now what you tell us is basically from here back on his skull, if they can see. Why don't you stand over there for just a second so we don't block him. From here back on his skull, and I've looked at your autopsy pictures, all this is gone.
To the right side.
To the right
and
side.
there were fractures on the left.
Okay.
So we know it's going in a left-right direction.
Do you have a seat for a moment, please? Thank you. I may be done with you, but don't put your coat back on. Okay, if you go ahead and take the stand again, please.